All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, you Tulsi-crats and you Indie-crats and anyone else. I'm the Radical Independent. Yes, my name is Dave, and this is my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by yesterday and watching the video I did breaking down Tulsi's debate performance. We need to talk about how Tulsi Gabbard right now is scaring the corporate media, scaring even some in the progressive media. The conservatives, they like Tulsi, but keep in mind they don't like Medicare for all. They don't like free public college. They don't like a lot of the things Tulsi Gabbard stands for. They like her, which is a testimony to the fact that she is appealing as a person, as an individual. This is the only candidate running. When I was talking about the side-by-side between her and Kamala Harris, you just see one woman who's a political opportunist up there, and that would be Harris. You could easily put Elizabeth Warren in there. You could put any of these faux progressive candidates who really intend on keeping the status quo in place. Tulsi Gabbard is a disruptor. Tulsi Gabbard would fit nicely as an independent. She would certainly be welcomed, I think, into the Green Party, or even as a libertarian with some progressive policy ideas. And I welcome all of this. But right now, her action plan, which is to win the Democratic nomination, is very much alive. Now, what will be interesting to monitor over the next few weeks, her poll numbers. Okay, by the way, she's on the cusp of hitting 130,000 unique donations, which she needs for the third debate. But she also has to poll, and the polling methodology that is used is confusing to me. It's a compilation of polls and so forth. It's like a Real Clear Politics average kind of thing. And for me, to imagine that, say, Amy Klobuchar is polling ahead of Tulsi Gabbard doesn't make any sense to me. Kristen Gillibrand is polling ahead of Tulsi Gabbard. At this stage, even Beto O'Rourke polling ahead of Tulsi Gabbard is absolutely disgusting. I'm trying to think of a word. It doesn't make any sense. And Tulsi Gabbard has won both debates. Okay, she won the first debate. She won the second debate. In fact, of all four debates, the prior debate, the one with Bernie and Elizabeth Warren taking on all of the corporate candidates, and the corporate candidates decided to mount an attack on both of them, and that was the strategy all night, is to kind of paint them as crazy and their ideas as way out of the mainstream. Here's the thing that progressives need to work on, and I would put this out to Tulsi too, is they have to work on messaging and branding and reaching people who ordinarily wouldn't listen to somebody say, hey, I'm a democratic socialist. All right? It just doesn't sound right. It sounds as if you're wanting to take over the country and control people, even though that's not what it is. And we've had this discussion before. There needs to be a real independent movement which takes the best of all things and combines it. For future reference, I don't think a candidate can win the White House, or probably should win the White House, if they want to decriminalize border crossings. Okay, if you're going to decriminalize border crossings, you're going to lose. You're going to lose to Donald Trump. What you need to do is say, you know what, we need more humane policies at the border, but we also need border security. Done. Okay? I think that is actually the Bernie and Tulsi position. but it's not articulated well. And once we get to a general election, and Biden, by the way, has come out and said, no, we can't do this. And most Americans are with Joe Biden, and I'm with Joe Biden. I'm not voting for Joe Biden, but I'm telling you, this is where progressive policies become a little more like just twinkle, twinkle, little star. You know what I mean? It's a lot of wishful pie in the sky stuff, and you can't just have, again, you wouldn't open your house and take the locks off your doors and, hey, everybody comes in and I don't care who you are. It's not going to go. It's not going to fly in general election. And Trump, look, does Trump use this stuff and exploit it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anytime anyone does something stupid, he's going to exploit it. And, then everyone's going to throw the R word at him, and that will go on for a week. And then his base will get more riled up and mutter to themselves as they're driving down the road, I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. I just want security. Democrats and progressives especially need to be able to relate to those people. I remember watching a video by Jordan Chariton, who does good work, especially on the Flint situation. And he was talking to people about what were the two big issues. Well, it was outsourcing of manufacturing jobs and immigration. Because, again, if you don't have enough jobs here to begin with and you're importing more people at will, you're going to have a job problem. You're going to have a scarcity of jobs for people to acquire. So getting back, though, to Tulsi Gabbard and her presidential aspirations, we are kind of in, that period where, like, re-entry, I know this is going to be a really bad analogy, where there's really a very small window for the capsule to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. I remember watching Apollo 13, and if they came in too steep or whatever, they were going to skip off the atmosphere and just bounce into space. Or if they come in at a grade which would create, maybe the steepness would be the burning up, and the shallowness would be the skipping into the, into outer space. Tulsi Gabbard is right there. She's, this is the best analogy I could come up with, because she needs to hit this small window where during the next debate, her profile is raised a little bit more, and she might be at 5% in the polls, 10% in the polls. She needs to start knocking down poll numbers of people like Warren and Harris. And I think one of the reasons she took on Harris so vigorously is because Harris's support is got to be kind of weak. All the corporate Democrats were screaming yesterday. Some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen on Twitter. Well, I shouldn't say that. But basically saying, well, these are all Trump Russian bots who are supporting Tulsi Gabbard, who just hate people of color. We just hate them. And we're getting paid all kinds of money to do this. Okay. I'm still waiting for my check from Vladimir Putin. Hasn't arrived. I'm hoping he'll, send me some money, because honestly, this channel isn't making me a lot of money, although I do appreciate YouTube actually monetizing the video I did yesterday, which has over 10,000 views. Good for me, right? Good for Tulsi Gabbard and her message. Look, there's a narrow window, and there is hope. And again, we have to continue to talk about Tulsi. We can defend her, but the bots, the people, and these are the real bots, by the way, the people who just reflexively say, well, she's, just a Russian plant. All the people that like Jill Stein, too, they like Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, the horrors of liking an anti-war candidate who wants to bring our troops home. By the way, kudos, and I don't know if this is true or not. I haven't researched it enough, but apparently some troops are coming home from Afghanistan. Good. Well, our military budget is still $750 billion. So we're probably going to bring those troops home and reallocate them somewhere else. I mean, this is the war machine. It just never ends. But on paper and in your brain, when you wake up or go to sleep, you're thinking, oh, good, we're finally going to get out of Afghanistan. We'll see. I guarantee that we're going to leave some residual forces there, and it won't be a complete withdrawal, but it's good to see it in the headlines. And it seems as though Trump, at least his instincts are to say no to the military-industrial complex. Imagine if he had Tulsi Gabbard in there, who could really just marshal a lot of support from people who don't even want to look at Donald Trump. She could get the support of a much larger portion of the country. Plus, she has much more credibility on the issue because of her military service. So those are all good things as far as getting troops home. But this is why the corporate media is frantic, absolutely frantic. And they don't understand how we think. They don't understand how most of America thinks on this issue. They don't even understand how returning military vets think on this issue. It's something like 70% of them do not believe in what we're doing as far as foreign policy, and a good majority of them want these troops to come home. All right, and that's the military. All right, these are warriors who are trained to kill people and break things, and now they're saying enough is enough. So I'm optimistic about Tulsi, cautiously so. The video I did prior to the last video was about being her last stand. It still kind of is, but there is a window of opportunity, and I'm not going to candy coat it. If those polling numbers are still at 0.8% and Amy Klobuchar is beating Tulsi Gabbard, I'm just going to throw my hands into the air and I'm going to say, okay, it's time for a People's Party. It's time for an independent party. I don't think, by the way, a little side conversation here, I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to be able to overcome Biden and Warren right now. Warren is just zapping support from Bernie, and a lot of that comes from like the TYT progressives and the resistance progressives, or Democrats, whatever you want to call them, who are more concerned about Trump Russia hoaxes than they are what's happening to regular average Americans each day. It's just the facts, and it's sad. Bernie Sanders, I think, is, the more I see Bernie lately, the more I realize he's too old. I'm just going to put it out there. He's too old. He's too cranky, all right? And it's not going to carry well in a general against Donald Trump, because you're trying to run a candidate who looks softer and more empathetic and so forth to most Americans. Bernie Sanders ain't that guy. I mean, at the debate, he's like, I wrote the damn bill. He just, excuse me, Congressman, I actually wrote that bill. I mean, he's like the angry guy in line at the deli, and he's ticked off that, someone's ordering, 5 large subs from Publix, and he's, he's going to start yelling. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying he's not a candidate, I think, that's going to appeal to, say, suburban women. I mean, you could go on, you can go through the demographics, whereas I think Tulsi Gabbard appeals to both men and women across the spectrum, and we're talking not only age and gender, we're talking about the ideological spectrum, because there are so many people out there that understand that this endless war thing has got to stop, and we've known it for a long time, and more people are waking up to that reality. The question is, can we push this agenda past the military-industrial complex, where so many people are now dependent on a war machine for their income. And this is a huge issue, with military bases everywhere, with military contractors everywhere, and also the subcontractors, all of these different things that are happening to basically run or prop up an economy. Are we willing to tear down that economy and rebuild it on things that are sustainable and long-term and aren't war-based? That's the question. That's a big question. And I'm not sure if America is actually ready for all of that. You have to be able to articulate it, and you have to be able to have a plan. And I'm hoping that Tulsi Gabbard, in the weeks to come, unfurls that plan and explains to her, her potential voters how she's going to do it. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but again, it's up to us. I keep saying this in each video. It's up to us, and it's up to independents, even moderates. If you're a moderate and you hate all the crap, the back and forth and the tribalism, Tulsi Gabbard is a great alternative to all of this, because what she does is she frames things. She doesn't attack. She doesn't frivolously attack. Her defense of Joe Biden should show you that she's an equal opportunity offender and defender. When she needs to defend, she'll defend. She's defended Ilhan Omar when it wasn't convenient to do that, even though there are a lot of people that disagreed with that. On the issue of Israel, I actually agreed with Tulsi on that. And she defended Joe Biden's record on race going back like 45 years ago. I mean, we need to get real, people. We need to stop talking about identity politics. We need to start talking about issues, pocketbook issues that affect everyday Americans. All right. So that's my video. I am cautiously optimistic, and we will soldier on here at The Radical Independent. Again, if you'd like to support this channel, there is a link, top right banner for Patreon. I will also put a PayPal email address. Been getting some donations over there, and I very much appreciate that. You can do just the one-time donation, for any amount that you want to do. Your generosity, though, keeps me going, because honestly, even with the 10,000 views yesterday on a video, the channel revenue has crashed since I changed the name of the channel. And that was my doing, and maybe it was a stupid idea, but I needed to rebrand and to think long-term for this particular channel. All right, done. Be back soon, and I'll see you then.